In yesterday's lecture, I talked about the introduction or overview of the entire subject, and I also talked about little bit the importance of the productivity, the types of the productivities, and how it can be useful. Okay, in the today's this lecture, I'll be talking about the 2-3 things which are related to the productivity only, like the types of productivities. Those were the measures of the productivity, like partial productivity and the total productivity. So, but depending upon the scale of the productivity, we can define it as macro level companies where productivity is measured, or macro level systems where productivity is to be measured, like productivity of a state, productivity of a nation. So that is the macro aspect related with the productivity, and in micro aspect, like a particular shop, particular enterprise, particular industry, particular section, the types of productivity. So we can say like the productivity of macro systems, like productivity of a state or of a nation. Okay, and in case of the productivity of the micro systems, it can be for a particular enterprise or a company or shop or section, like that. Okay, but in many cases it is found extremely difficult to measure the productivity because of certain big reasons. So measuring the productivity is not easy. So issues, or you can say the difficulties in measurement of the productivity are of the two types. One is called commonly known as aggregation problem. And another one is obviously related with the availability of data. So I said I was talking about the aggregation problem. Aggregation problem is basically related with like how to come out with the value of the total inputs or total output. How to come out, how to arrive at coming out with the total value of output is somewhat easier, because simply we can say like x unit of particular item, y units of another item multiplied by its market price. So you simply multiply it with the market price, you will be getting the value of the output. But getting the total value of input is really very difficult, because for manufacturing these XYZ types of the products, or for the various products, you may require variety of labors, starting from technicians to the diploma holders, engineers, scientists at a different level. Likewise, shop floor manager to the top level management. Then there will be contract laborers. So variety of the people who will be contributing to produce a certain output. Okay, so bringing all these in these inputs, say in form of labor or for producing those output or products, it may be required to use tens of the types of the material. Okay, so first is the various types of the material, second their quantity is changing, few are used in very large quantity, others in very less, and their prices are also changing, like they may not be, you will not be getting consistently at the same price over a period of time. So this is about the material. Similarly, the capability and the production rate of the different machines may not also be same. So also that is to be converted into like the contribution of the machine component in producing something. So here also like say variety of the machines and their the time, you see the machine contribution obviously will be quantified in terms of the time it takes to produce a particular thing. So depending upon the rate of production of particular machine, time associated with the particular machine will be changing, and accordingly its contribution will be changing. So the problem is bringing all these inputs in some form of value is extremely difficult, and that is what is termed as aggregation problem of input is more and somewhat less with the output, because at least you know that how many units have been produced and what is its market price. Okay, so that is about the aggregation problem, and the second is about the availability. You see, it's very difficult to maintain the record of each and everything which is being used. So in big companies, certainly they try to maintain the record of the things which are being used, but in most of the cases, if you talk of like the India's GDP, so how people arrive at the total value of the goods and services which are produced, it is very difficult. So they apply some simplification approaches to arrive at how many people are working at this level, how many people are working at this level, how many industries, what they are producing. So whether it is determining the value or the economy, quantification of a economy of a particular country or of a particular industry, that needs the data, and data most of the time is not available even for calculation of the productivity purposes. So in those cases, in those industries and firms where really this is available, it is fine. But in macro scale systems where huge industry or the state, or we are talking about the state productivity or the nation's productivity, their availability of the data regarding the use of the various inputs to produce goods and services is extremely difficult. So these are the two issues related with the measurement of the productivity, availability of input data related with the various resources which are being used. Okay, so then I talked yesterday a little bit about the partial productivity. As I said, the partial productivity gives us indication of the relative importance of the various input parameters towards the total output. So partial productivity. Now this partial productivity can be of the land which is being used, can be of the material which is being used to produce something, then it can be of the labor, or it can be of the machine. Both these two most of the time will be coming together. So we quantify them in terms of the labor hours or machine hours being used to produce certain volume. So the land, partial productivity of land, material, machine, or likewise anything which is important for giving the output of certain type. So this gives us the area where work can be done for increasing the productivity. When we measure the productivity, it gives us the indication where the work can be done in the land, in material or machine or labor, or similarly any other parameter. Second, it gives us the relative importance of the uh, the different input parameters towards their contribution in producing the certain output. Okay, so this is one. Then if we see, we'll take one simple example so that you can appreciate what I'm trying to say. Okay, so here this is basically related with the partial productivity only. Say there is a company A, B, C, and it is producing it produces the 240 crates using 100 using per 100 logs of wood. Okay, so the company is currently so accordingly it is procuring 100 logs per day for producing these goods per day. Okay, procuring 100 logs per day, and each log takes 3 labor hours for processing. Okay, so 100 logs are processed per day and each log takes 3 labor hours for processing. The owner of the company is thinking of like to choose the better buyer where from he can procure the logs for processing. So he is looking for the option of better source to buy these logs, which are of the obviously the better quality logs. Okay, and he is thinking of like if these better quality logs can be procured at same cost. Okay, so if by using these better quality logs, if he is able to increase the output to the 260 per 100 logs. Earlier it was 240, now it is 260, and to produce these 260 crates using 100 logs, to get this much output using the same 100 logs, it requires 8 extra hours, 8 extra labor hours, 8 extra labor hours per day. Okay, so labor hours have been increased, output has increased by 20 units for the same log consumption. So now we have to see really if this option should be explored or not. or what is happening actually with the giving more labor hours, it is feasible or not. So in such situations we'll try to measure what is the kind of increase in the labor input. So direct in number it will not help. We'll try to see what is the percentage increase in the labor input. Okay, and what is the percentage, what is the increase in output? In number it is 20, but it may not be helpful. So we'll increase the percentage increase in the output, maybe in terms of productivity itself. So obviously we'll be going for the labor productivity. So the percentage change in the productivity which is taking place. So we'll be seeing the first case. Okay, the case 1 where we are producing the 240 crates using 100 logs. So what is the labor productivity, current labor productivity? It is basically 240 is the output divided by each log takes the 3 labor hours. So for processing 100 logs it will require 300 hours. So 3 into 100. This will be giving us the labor productivity of 0.8. Okay, that means 0.8 crates per labor hour. Okay, when the situation is improved, buyer is changed as the owner thought of. So in that case the new situation, in new situation the output is 260. Okay, and it required for processing 8 extra hours per day. So means earlier 3 into 100 that time was same, plus it needed 8 extra hours per day. So we'll be adding 8. So 260 divided by 308. This will give us the updated productivity of 0.844. So earlier it was 0.8, now it is 0.844. So most of the time we are interested in the percentage change in the productivity. So there is a change of 0.044 divided by the base productivity level, that was 0.8. So this will be giving us the increase in productivity of 5.5%. Okay, so we can multiply the 100 will give us the percentage of 5.5. Now what we increased, basically we gave more labor hours. So labor hours simply increase in the percentage of the labor input was like simple 8 extra labor hours divided by the same earlier 300 labor hours. So we increase the labor percentage change in the labor input was like say 2.66%. So still it is better, like we are increasing the labor input by 2.66%. On the other hand, increase in productivity being observed is 5.5. So when productivity is enhanced, what we get either the same output for the less input. This helps in reducing the cost of items, whether it is goods or service. When we produce more using less or using the same input, it helps to increase the availability of output, which may be in form of variety of goods and services. It can range in different ways, like I talked about food, shelter and clothing. So these are the three things. If these are available at low cost in larger quantity with the consumption of the lesser input, then this will simply increase the access of the consumable goods or the items which are consumed by the general masses. This will simply increase the standard of living. So availability of the goods and services is enhanced. Goods and services is enhanced. So this is one aspect. So it is always good to produce more and more. So increase the output. Increasing the output either using the same or less input. There is another way. Increase the output which is with corresponding increase of input. This is the another, still this is good, at least we can produce more. There is another aspect related with, I will talk after this third point, or increase the output wherein increasing the input helps to increase the output with a much higher percentage. So percentage change in the output is much higher than the increase in input. Okay, so increasing input is also needed, but the percentage increase in input that is needed, that helps to increase the percentage of output significantly higher, not just the corresponding increase in the. So the most favorable situation is this one, whether where we can give less inputs to get and increase in output is realized, or corresponding we increase the input and get the increased output, or increase the input but we get much higher output. Okay, there are very complex issues related with this productivity related thing, because what people think in if using less, if we can produce more, so we'll be using the less inputs. So that less inputs means what? It is mostly material and labor. These are the two things. So if the less material is used, nobody cares. But if the less labor is used, everybody is concerned. Less labor means they will not be using the manpower to produce the output, and this will be leading to the unemployment. And that is why most of the time the concerns associated with the productivity are primarily related with the unemployment. So whenever in industry we will talk of productivity, the workers, managers and the laborers, you must have heard like for cutting down the cost nowadays, so many the companies are doing the layoffs, and many people are being fired because they are not able to sustain the kind of conditions which exist currently. So because there is no market, so there is no demand for the output. So those are the linked things. Even in normal situation also, if the efforts are made to increase the output by cutting down the labor input especially, then it leads to the unemployment. So as far as the employment is concerned, there can be three situations. So that's why most of the time government works for increasing the output, even if it is required, like so increasing the output by giving more input, so more in employment, or those who are doing something else rather than the correct kind of the job, they also get the required job. So as far as the employment is concerned, there are two situations with regard to the employment, because it is very closely related with the productivity. So one is like unemployed, people don't have jobs. So like government schemes like Manrega kind of thing, those who don't have job, they are given job. But those schemes are not for the entire range of the public. Then there is underemployment. Underemployment. People are capable, people are doing something else because they are not getting the job that they can do. So this is the situation of the underemployment. Or third one is the employment. Okay, so if we have to increase the input so that more goods and services can be made available to the general public and the masses, so let us produce more. So by giving the employment, by giving more inputs, we can certainly produce more. So this will give the employment, or this will give the employment to the unemployed or employment to the underemployed. Certainly, if the more and more output is needed and people are employed, that may be a situation in the developed countries, certainly not in India. So there people work for like let's do the high-end jobs by our own. Let's get the high-end jobs done by our own people, and the low-end jobs are exported, or they are you can say outsourced to the developing countries. Like you will be knowing, a lot of the jobs are done by the India and China for the US companies. So that is an example. They retain the good jobs for their own people, and the low end jobs are outsourced to the developing countries. Okay, but still they are beneficiary. Like Apple is being produced in China and India, right? But it is sold globally because there are many things which are done at cost effectively in these countries. Anyway, so moving ahead, so if we can really do good by increasing the productivity, if we can produce more output, this will certainly increase the standard of living. This is one, and it will be giving the more resources to the governments, resources to the government to take care of all essential services, which, as I have told you, may be education, medical, infrastructure, transport, and various things which are done by the government for the social security. So if the government is doesn't have enough resources, then how it will be coming out for these welfare schemes? So it is important really, like you will be knowing, India is like economy volume wise, India is say 5th or 6th, it is like swinging between the two. So the economy is something which is really important for the welfare and for the development of the country. The productivity of the material and the productivity of the machine and productivity of land. Okay, so here the productivity of material productivity, how it can be improved? Any suggestion, any idea? Anybody can talk something about this material productivity? Like I'm talking about the productivity of the material, you must have seen, like if the design is imperfect, then it requires a lot of material, very heavy equipments, very heavy machinery. You must be able to recall earlier machinery used to be very heavy, nowadays machines are lighter. Similarly, the cars were heavier, and now those are somewhat lighter, although their weight has increased because of comfort requirement only, because due to the development of the newer materials, the section thickness is reducing, and that in turn helping to reduce the weight. So the one aspect related with the improving the productivity, like in 1 kg how many you are producing, or 1 ton or how many you are producing, it is like that only. So there are two aspects related to the material productivity as far as the mechanical engineers are concerned. Like, one is the design. The design should be such that it requires the minimum use of the material. So obviously it is a combination of the multiple factors. How effectively design is developed, considering the important characteristics which are needed for performance under a particular set of conditions. Okay, so that is one. Sometimes we unnecessarily consider very high factor of safety, and that in turn increases the thickness and increases the material to be used in. So a sound design in such a way that it considers the right set of the properties which are needed and the right section thickness, using that set of properties that are really important for the service. Okay, so the design, appropriate design will help to reduce the material to be used. Okay, so this is one. Another one is the manufacturing related thing. In manufacturing, certainly you will see at different stages there is a lot of wastage, lot of rejections, a lot of damages. So what is important for manufacturing is, like, the wastage is reduced. Then how it can be reduced? You have to see that it is processed properly or perfectly using set of process parameters, and then after it is processed properly, then the operators do their job perfectly, because otherwise due to the carelessness it will lead to the lot of rejections. So proper training of the operator or the workers, they need to be sensitized. Then proper handling during the transport itself, lot of things get damaged. It has to be packaged properly, so that the packaging and then it is stored properly, so that it doesn't get damaged during the storage itself. For the storage, I have one example actually. Near Roorkee there is a Asai glass factory. They manufacture the glass windows for entire range of the manufacturers, from Maruti, Tata to Honda, Hyundai, etc. So what they were facing problem of, like, whatever glass windows they were manufacturing, those were transported to the different dealers across the country. So the dealers who were there along the coastal line, they were experiencing one problem of that the glass windows getting stained after storage in like say the dark cold rooms. Within 1 month or 2 months, they were getting white spots in the glass windows, window glasses of the cars. So nobody will buy a car glass which is stained, having the stain of white or a dark one. This was leading to the simply rejection. And when we conducted the study, and we found that since in the coastal areas salinity is high, and in the cold dark room the condensation was taking place, leading to the NaCl rich the droplets depositing over the glasses, and that was reacting chemically with the glasses, and that was leading to the stains in the glasses. So many glasses were simply getting rejected because of those stains. So we suggested, like, make it proper ventilation, and so that the deposition of this kind of thing can be avoided. And let's not make it dark or the low temperature, because in the daytime and in the night there was a lot of temperature variation. So sometimes even storage can lead to the, especially if the product is manufactured and then transported through the ship, so during the transport through the sea, it may get corrode itself, so eventually it will be rejected. And then about the land productivity, I have two things about this. Like, land can be used for multiple purposes. One is agriculture, very common use. So using proper seeds, proper fertilizers, uh, the output or yield per acre can be increased. So if earlier it was less, proper cultivation approaches, if with the proper cultivation approaches, if the yield can be increased, then that will be helpful to get the more output from the per acre land. So the land productivity for agriculture can be enhanced in that way. But we are more concerned about the industries. Say, as industrial engineer, we have to see, so at what stage there is a role of the land. Land means there is a building or the open space. So the land, either we are going to come up with the new plant itself, so we have to see that what is the actual requirement of the land, and then either the expansion of the existing plant is taking place. So in under these two conditions, we have to see what is the kind of the land actually needed. And if we go for very large land which is not actually needed, then it will be leading to the unnecessary expenditure on the taxation or the money which is taken from the banks as a interest, and the maintenance of the entire thing. So all that will be leading to the increased input cost as far as the land is concerned. So we need to see really whatever is there, it is really as per the need and the actual requirement only. Then coming to the another important aspect, like we said that really productivity is important, and the productivity of the labor or machine or the material is important. So but who shares the responsibility of increasing the productivity? Productivity is to be enhanced, that is fine, but it is the responsibility of whom? So here you see productivity is governed by broadly the two category of the factors. One category is about the factors within the control of the industry or organization. Okay, and the second is the factors beyond control of the organization or of the industry. So in the first category, obviously we have the common thing, like there can be land, there can be machines. You can have one machine or 10 machines, you can have 5 acre or 10 acres of the land. Then there is the labor, you can have 50 or 100 people employed in your organization. You can have you can use 10 kg or 100 kg of the material. So many things which are beyond within the control of the organization or the industry. Certainly some kind of the work input can work, and efforts can help to improve the productivity due to this. But sometimes all these factors do not play much role when the conditions become very hostile for the survival of the companies and organizations. So those are the factors which are beyond the control of the industry and the organizations. So those factors obviously are related with the like nature. What we see nowadays, everywhere water, everywhere COVID. right? So people are helpless. This is one thing. There may be earthquake, there may be huge disaster, there can be. So nature is one thing. Then there is a government. Like government can impose lot of restrictions related with the environment or pollution control, related with the taxation policies, related with the working hours. So there can be multiple factors. There can be government policies, various policies associated with the running of a particular kind of the industry. Okay. Then there is another set like the businesses. You can say the kind of ecosystem which is there for a particular kind of the business. So the interest rates, the funding, availability of resources. I'll give very interesting example for this availability of resources. Like India is known to be the manufacturer of the medicines. These manufacturers, manufacturing of these medicines, tablets, etc. These are manufactured using the raw material imported from the China, and the India China are now they are in opposite phases. So now obviously government will have to see where from these resources can be arranged, and those industries which are heavily relying on these input resources, they'll have to see really how they will work it out. And if the availability is limited, then things may be available at much higher cost from some other resource, and that may disturb the productivity of the organization or of the industry or a particular sector completely. Okay, so there are many things which are beyond control, and you must have heard like in Uttarakhand, so many companies came in like in 5-10 years. Likewise, so the state governments offer their own policies to invite the industries, business houses to set up the plants so that employment of the people of the particular state can be generated. So the government works like a little relaxation on the environment. You can install the like cement plant in the hills, although there will be a lot of resistance as well. Then there is a tax holidays or tax rebates are given, relaxation on the government policies, or you can say interest free loans, increased availability of certain kind of the resources. So the government can facilitate the industries in number of ways if it wants to attract. Like nowadays government of India is doing to attract a lot of businesses or the industries who are interested to shift from the China. So all those are like various aspects related with this, what governments can do for encouraging the businesses in a particular sector. Okay, the lastly I have got like whose responsibility is this and what is the role. So as far as the productivity is concerned, whose the responsibility is this? So they are basically three. One is it is the government. Government has to create the favorable environment. Like we can say the ecosystem for flourishing the country is to be created, so that the industries can work efficiently. You must have heard like the ranking of India in ease of doing the business is continuously changing depending upon the steps and actions of the government. Okay, so the ease of doing business largely depend on the government policies related with the businesses. So the policies of the government for facilitating the business is quantified in terms of the ease of doing business. They have their own parameters, that is fine, like how much time it takes to get the approvals, what are the labor or other related policies of the government. The second is about the workers. Obviously the workers' motivation is important. So they need to contribute effectively. I'll talk little later about this worker related aspect, because there has to be at least a reasonably good level of the motivation to do any good thing. Otherwise, if you may have very good machinery, you may have very good procedures, but if the workers are not motivated, then not much can be done. That is what we study in your TQM kind of subject. Anyway, the another one is the management. Management shares lot of responsibility, like it has to create favorable environment so that the people work like a team. This is one. It has to make sure that all the resources are used effectively. So use of resources, making the resources available and making their availability of the various resources among the different groups or the sections. So the coordination of for effective use of the resources. It will have to work, management will have to see that how it can use various resources effectively. Finally, I'll conclude this one. In this lecture, basically I have talked about the various types of there are two major types of the productivities, issues related to the productivity measurement, and who shares the responsibility of having the good productivity in industry. So that's it from my side. We'll take it up further from here on towards tomorrow. Okay, good. Chali, bye.